Gaston Caperton has friends on every hill and in every valley in West Virginia, and his connections reach around the globe. His friends describe him as selfless, passionate, honest, and intelligent. They say he's a visionary who never met a stranger. Caperton's leadership and integrity shaped West Virginia into a better place to live, learn, and work. Whether because of improvements in our schools, access to technology, or the state's improved financial condition, many West Virginians recognize him as one of our greatest governors, and yet unassuming.
I guess if you didn't really know Gaston, you wouldn't think anyone could be so accomplished and unaffected by it all. I mean, he's still the Gaston I knew 50 years ago. Great guy.
William Gaston Caperton III was born on February 21, 1940. He grew up on the west side of Charleston with his mother, Eliza Ambler Caperton, and his father, William Gaston Caperton Jr., and an older sister, Carrie. He says his mom was kind, gentle, and had a deep faith. As a daughter of missionaries, she was very involved in the community. Gaston describes his dad as his hero. His hero always made him pancakes for breakfast before taking him to Sunday school and church. During Gaston's second inaugural address, he said he learned his values from his dad.
Watching my hero, I learned his values. Honesty, compassion, respect for hard work, love of God, love of West Virginia, family, friends, and a commitment to making his community a better place to live.
Gaston was also very close with his sister Carrie Caperton Owen. In 2013, he donated a sculpture outside the Clay Center in honor of his late sister. The painted carbon steel sculpture is titled Windtorn. At the dedication, Gaston said, because of his sister's long history in education, the Clay Center seemed like the perfect place to pay tribute to her life's work. Gaston attended elementary and middle school on Charleston's west side. He graduated from Episcopal High School in Alexandria, Virginia, where his mom's uncle was the principal. His mom was a big influence on his education. Gaston admits he was much better on the basketball court or football field than in the classroom. Academics were a challenge for Gaston. When he was 8, he was diagnosed with dyslexia. From then on, his dad made him study the dictionary. Every morning for 2 years, Gaston and his dad would sit together and study 10 to 15 words. Hard work helped Gaston overcome his reading challenges, and an inspiring 11th grade English teacher taught him to love learning. Education became one of his lifelong passions. After high school, he went to the University of North Carolina. While in college, Gaston ran for treasurer of his freshman class and won. The following year, he ran for class president, but lost the race. At the time, he said that was the end of politics for him. Well, as we all know, he had a change of heart later in life. Gaston graduated in 1963 with a degree in business administration and came home to Charleston to work at his father's insurance firm, McDonough Caperton. He started as a salesman, but quickly moved up the corporate ladder. In 1976, he was elected president of the company.
Gaston is an incredible leader. First of all, he has a great strategic sense of what to do next, and is very savvy about the risk involved and how to mitigate those risks. But probably his greatest strength is his ability to recruit people and to inject them with some of his boundless enthusiasm and optimism and put them on the path to accomplishing the goal. And he's one of the best I've ever seen.
Under Gaston's leadership, McDonough Caperton grew tremendously and became one of the largest privately owned insurance companies in the country. At a company luncheon, he said hard work has always been a hallmark of McDonough Caperton.
There is nobody who loves Charleston, West Virginia more than Gaston Caperton.
In 1986, the Democratic Party recruited the successful businessman to run the state's largest business, state government. As a political newcomer, he didn't have much name recognition, but he approached the campaign much like he did everything in life, with intense focus and determination.
When he first ran for governor, we did our first poll, and he came back with a 3%, just recognition is all it was, not even a 3% vote. I mean, you know, the Pillsbury Doughboy has a higher numbers than Gaston had when he first ran for governor. And we looked at those numbers and he wondered to himself, how in the world can I ever do this at 3% starting out like that? But I tell you one thing about Gaston, he just never let up. He worked hard for 17 months. He never quit until he worked his way into that office up there. And that's just the kind of guy he is.
Just like he conquered dyslexia, Gaston overcame his lack of name recognition with hard work and was elected governor in 1988, becoming the state's 31st governor. He was reelected 4 years later.
It's a great victory for jobs and prosperity. And a great victory for education.
As governor, Gaston changed the way we do business. He tackled tough, complex issues like workers' comp. He took over a state that had a significant deficit. He balanced the books and created the Rainy Day Fund. He helped pass the state's first Ethics Act, created jobs, and lowered unemployment. He was the visionary for Tamarack, a place that highlights the arts and talents of West Virginians. He was also instrumental in helping fund the construction of the Clay Center. His list of accomplishments seems endless, but it's his work with education that's perhaps closest to his heart. He revolutionized West Virginia's education system during his time as governor. Average teacher salary jumped from 49th in the nation to 31st. He launched one of the country's earliest basic skills computer initiatives, and he invested more than $800 million into the improvement and modernization of schools.
I sat through many a meeting with him and we would discuss policies with legislators and other state leaders. And invariably at the end of the meeting, Gaston would turn to people and say, but what's the right thing to do? Gaston always did what he thought was right. And I can tell you, while he was governor, he never lost a measure in the legislature that he really cared about. And that's because legislators always believed, even if they didn't agree with him, they believed he was doing the right thing and they would follow him. And that made him a very successful governor.
After leaving office in 1997, Gaston spent 2 years teaching at Harvard and Columbia universities before becoming the 8th president of the College Board. Under Gaston's leadership, the organization was transformed and emphasized the importance of writing by adding a writing section to the SAT. Great progress was also made in improving student access to and performance in advanced placement classes, which help high school students master college-level studies in specific subject areas.
Gaston brought a face to the College Board, and also he looked very, very carefully to make certain that it wasn't just about testing. It was about developing opportunities and pathways for people to go on into higher education, to have success. It was not about always the best and the brightest. It was about making life, an educational life, available to everyone. And I think the humaneness of his approach was one of the great qualities that he brought. And of course the College Board flourished, and he also brought a sense of business, and it was an institution that had significant financial challenges, which he quickly overcame.
While Gaston is a successful businessman, he is also a very involved parent and grandparent. He has 2 sons, Gat and John, and 5 fun granddaughters. His oldest son jokes and says the girls break fewer things than he and his brother did growing up. Gat runs a furniture manufacturing company in Berkeley Springs called Gat Creek. Gaston proudly uses the furniture his son makes. Gat is married to Susan, and they have 3 daughters, Eliza 15, Katie 13, and Evie 11. Gaston's youngest son, John, lives in San Francisco and is an instructor at the Academy of Art University. John is married to Deb, and the couple has 2 daughters, Ella, 11, and Marta, 9. Gat and John say their dad is very sweet with the girls. Well, there are many pictures that Gaston cherishes. One of his favorites is this one of his granddaughter sitting beside him on a boat, enjoying a great family day. With family by his side, Gaston Caperton's career has taken him from the corner office on Hillcrest Drive to the governor's mansion, to the world of nonprofits and academia. The young man with a learning disability grew up to teach in Ivy League schools, his journey marked by an unyielding perseverance and an unquenchable thirst for learning. The YMCA is proud to pay tribute to a friend whose leadership, compassion, and charity are examples to us all.